No, we don't have to control it, put it all out in the open. If it's only for a moment, it's a lifetime of emotion. Put it all out in the open.
Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a little bit different. I'm going to be doing a reaction video to some TikToks that I found. For those of you who don't know, I do have a TikTok account, but I don't actually watch TikToks. There's a lot of really sketchy things on there and like really abusive horse videos. So for my own mental health, if I go on there, it's only to post my own TikToks. I don't really like to watch TikToks. So the only time I get to see them are when people send them to me. And I've had the pleasure of seeing quite a bit of really weird shit on TikTok. So it'll be fun to react to some of the weirder horse related things. Before we get started, I just wanted to point out my shirt. This is a new design from my store. This is my cat. Anyways, this shirt is a new design from my store. It's called the Grey's Anatomy design. This is a dapple graded horse and then all of the anatomy is labeled, haha, so punny. And I'm wearing the long sleeve tee. This design has been really popular, so if you want to check it out, you can check out the link down below to go see my store and what I have available to offer, because there's lots of new designs coming out and there's some Halloween themed ones. So if you want something like that, you should order it soon so you can enjoy it before Halloween. Thanks, shameless plug. Now let's get started. So the first TikTok I'm going to look at is by someone named That Vegan Teacher. So before I even get into watching this, I just want to point out the fact that if you're going to call yourself a teacher, you damn well better be sure you know what you're talking about and that you're not spreading misinformation, which I'm sure this video does. So yeah, that's the first criticism I have. If you're going to call yourself a teacher, make sure you know that what you're talking about so that you're actually qualified to teach on that subject. Just a little hintsy poo. Okay, so I'm just gonna start watching it because this is a very exciting time.
When you first see this, you think it's beautiful. Almost everybody loves horses. I have no doubt that this person really cares about horses. However, riding horses is not okay. It's not right to breed horses and then to break their spirits so that you can ride them.
Okay, well, breeding horses is kind of separate from breaking their spirits to ride them, but, okay, yeah, that's kind of odd. The one thing that I'll say that I hate about militant vegans is the very tunnel vision they have towards stuff that they don't like. So in their opinion, there's not a person on this planet that starts a horse under saddle without breaking their spirit. And that comment alone is enough for me to know that this woman does not handle horses whatsoever. I highly doubt if you handed her a horse that she would know how to manage it. I can guarantee you she wouldn't know how to feed them, she wouldn't know what their basic needs are, and she doesn't know how to judge their behavior, because the entire notion that the only way you can teach a horse how to be ridden is by breaking their spirit is something that is like off of the mainstream bullshit that these types of militant vegans push. And I have no problem with veganism. I think that you guys have your hearts in the right place. The problem I have are the ones that are like, it's my way or the highway, and if you do not do exactly how I do my vegan stuff, you're the worst person ever, and there's no exceptions. And in saying that the only way to break a horse is by breaking their spirit, you are being that person. And I just want to point out, like, using the term breaking a horse is no different than saying you housebroke your dog. You don't break your dog's spirit to teach them how to shit outside. You're teaching them. And yes, you can do that in an abusive manner, and some people do, but that doesn't mean everyone is guilty of it. And I think it's very, very narrow-minded and ignorant to perpetuate those types of views, because, for example, the way I started, like, my auction rescue that I rescued from slaughter, so he would have been a burger patty if he hadn't been rescued, and he was very nervous. I did not break his spirit. I built trust using positive reinforcement and taught him how to be ridden that way, and he was very accepting of it and very food motivated and actually enjoyed that type of training. So it's really no different than how you teach your dog how to do tricks. It would be on the same vein as saying if you teach your dog any tricks or use enriching activities involving treats where you pay the dog to do something for you, like, oh, go fetch, do this, do that, or teaching them how to walk on a leash. You're not breaking their spirit to do that. You can do it in a mean manner, but you're not breaking their spirit at all to do that. And like I said, there are people who absolutely do train in the way she's talking about, and I have seen, I've been sent a ton of videos of people doing exactly that to horses, and then they post the videos on TikTok. So if that's where she's coming from, I can kind of see why she'd have those views. However, I don't think she should be making a video criticizing someone who is cantering in a straight line based off the stuff she sees on TikTok, because there are so many other videos she could have criticized that actually show someone breaking a horse's spirit and shutting a horse down. But yeah, I can't stand that whole idea.
No horse would ever run like that in a straight line on its own.
I'm a head out. No, just kidding, but holy fuck, what the hell? What are you talking about? No horse would ever run in a straight line like that on its own. Have you been around horses, that vegan teacher? You're supposed to be teaching us about horses right now, and you're saying none of them would run in a straight line on their own. I have numerous videos of my horses running in a straight line on their own, because if their turnout allows it, they like to gallop in straight lines all together. Oh my gosh. I really like that hill. Yeah, who's the kid in this situation? Who's the kid? Hey there. Stay there. And horses just enjoy running and playing sometimes. They're a very emotional species, and they actually have a lot of personality, so the idea that they don't do this on their own is just complete and utter bullshit that she's peddling to her vegan followers. And like, if you're gonna criticize a video about horses, make sure you actually have some relevant experience to criticize. If you're a vegan who cares about animals, you shouldn't be spreading misinformation that could harm animals. And you're pushing this to people who also don't know anything about horses, and in turn their views are going to get tainted by the misinformation you're saying in this video, that vegan teacher, or should I say unteacher, because you're not teaching anyone anything. So yeah, if you're out there to help animals, actually make sure your information is accurate. And to be frank, like, all you do is create animosity between vegans and horseback riders, and they'll pick on people that are even representing the good in the horse world, that are representing positive training, that don't want their horses shut down or in learned helplessness, that view their horses as a partner and love them. You're getting those people dragged into this mess and treating them like they're the ones who are breaking horses' spirits, which is a legitimate problem, and a lot of us in the horse world are actively speaking out about that type of training and taking issue with it. But in doing this, you're blaming all of us, and you're roping people in that could actually help benefit and change the horse world through the knowledge that they have, because they're actually horse people who understand what horses need. So that's not cool. You're kind of a fraud if you perpetuate these types of things, because you're not helping animals. If you want to make the biggest difference, you don't do it by having closed-minded views where you vilify everyone who isn't a vegan just like you. Don't like it.
They are trained to do that. They are given food only if they behave.
Excusez-moi? They're given food only if they behave? Oh my god, there are a ton of lesson ponies that just never eat in their life then. I have known some fairly abusive horse people in my day that I do not agree with their practices, but I've never known anyone to just not feed their horse when it misbehaves. That is a load of shit, and if it does happen, it's not very common at all. Removing food from an animal because you're mad at them doesn't teach them anything. They don't have the connection to understand, like, oh, I'm not eating because I was bad today. They're not gonna do that. Most people do not train that way. I have never heard it be a mainstream thing. It's not something that's accepted in the horse world. If anyone heard of someone doing that, they would get called the fuck out big time. Like, it doesn't fly. And again, that's another comment that makes it pretty clear that you've probably never been within 10 feet of a horse, or if you have, you'd be one of those people that very clearly is uncomfortable around horses and doesn't know how to handle them, which is fine, but then you shouldn't be speaking as an authority on how horses are handled and trying to tell people these things. It's very sketchy, and I kind of think that this type of person, this type of vegan, is more in it for the attention and clout and creating backlash than they are for the actual animals, because it makes no fucking sense to do this otherwise.
A book by Ren Hurst is something that I would recommend that you read, or go to her YouTube channel. She understands horses. She used to ride them, and she never will again.
That long stare at the end is so unsettling. Why didn't she crop it? I hated that. I hated every second of that. But basically all I have to say is that I can't stand vegans like this, and people like her are the ones that give vegans a bad name, because there are a lot of reasonable vegans that, while they may hold different views than other people, they're not going to be so hardcore that they vilify everyone, even the people who are working to better animal welfare within their little niche, like the horse people. Like, you don't have to agree with horses being ridden, but if someone is riding a horse and teaching it in an ethical manner with positive reinforcement, isn't breaking their spirit, they're actually feeding them, the horse gets turned out and gets to go out with other horses and be happy, then you shouldn't be criticizing them, because you're not going to enact change to change the whole horse world in our lifetime even, and you're not going to create any friends by being so outrageously over the top. It just makes people defensive, and it kind of kills your point, because it's just such a drastic stance to take that's not really founded by anything. There's a lot of studies done on horses in training, and it shows how they respond to different types of training, and there is some very compelling information on how they respond to positive reinforcement and how they actually bond with their handlers. Like, my horses actually like me, like straight up. They come to me all the time. Like, if I walk in the field, they don't leave me alone. Like, I can't go in there and have them not come over to me. They all come because they like me, because I've handled them nicely and I'm a nice horse person. So while you may not agree with the fact that I ride my horses, I can guarantee I'm more qualified to care for horses than you, and more sensitive to their behaviors. As someone who doesn't even know that horses run in a straight line naturally, I know you don't understand their behaviors. You couldn't actually go look at a horse and say why it's upset or what the cues are for that. So with that in mind, please shut the fuck up. Yeah, so I think there needs to be more laws to protect horses and ensure that there's enough space to keep them, and that people aren't keeping them in an inherently unfair environment. And I think riding is the least of the problems in terms of equine welfare. And there are aspects of riding that definitely need to be talked about and changed, but I don't think most vegans that I've seen making videos like this actually tackle the really big issues in the horse world, because they don't even know what they are, because they get all of their information from propaganda and like resources like PETA and stuff, and kind of just like bandwagon jump instead of looking further into things. And it's very clear when you see how they refer to horses' behavior and stuff. It's very weird. Like I said, I think they are well-intentioned in general, but they're vastly uneducated on the animals that they're trying to talk about. And I think that's a very important thing when you're trying to better the well-being of an animal, is to actually know what they need for well-being. And there are lots of ways to ride ethically and without hurting horses, but there is no ethical way to keep a horse locked up in a stall and isolated 24/7 unless it's for an injury, because then that's like, you have to do the evil to get them out of pain. But yeah, like there's other issues that they can tackle, and I think that it's pretty stupid to pick a video of someone just cantering in a straight line to target, because even from riding videos, there are way more abusive ones that you could find on TikTok for sure to tackle, and there's nothing in that horse's behavior that shows that it's irritated or in pain. It looks rather alert, it's looking to the surroundings, the reins don't look like they're tight, the horse doesn't look like it's surging or pulling or fighting the bit, it's just going along pretty quietly. The rider pulls it up with mostly a voice command and it looks pretty calm. So I think it's very nitpicky, and I think that if she's actually looking to teach people, as her name suggests, she needs to go learn herself and pick better content to criticize that's actually deserving of criticism, rather than nitpicking and just essentially witch hunting horse people just because they ride their horses. If you don't know enough about horses' natural behaviors to know that they do run in straight lines and that they like to play and do that type of thing on their own, then you don't know enough to be criticizing anyone, full stop. And if you're going to call yourself that vegan teacher, please make sure you actually have something to teach, because otherwise you're misleading people and spreading harmful misinformation that at the end of the day is just going to only serve the purpose of harming the horse, and it ruins vegans' credibility in the future, because people look at stuff like that and be like, wow, she really doesn't know what she's talking about, and they're right. And then when you actually have a good point to make, like if you were to make a point about stalling and how stalling practice needs to change and how turnout needs to become a mandatory thing and horses should have a required amount of space that they have access to instead of small spaces that are isolated, if you made a point like that, people will more easily discredit you off of stupid things you've said in the past. So make sure you have a good point and make sure you're actually teaching people, because it doesn't do the horses or the riders any favors, because you just make people feel attacked and it kind of starts a mass witch hunt. And like, honestly, vegans that comment on riding videos and stuff, they're never nice. Like, they never do it nicely. It's always very mean and vitriolic, and it ruins any point that you could be making because it comes from a lot of misinformation. Anyways, my camera died yesterday, so as you'll notice, the video cut off at a weird point, so I apologize. And I actually didn't do more than one TikTok, even though at the beginning I said I was going to be reviewing TikToks, which implies that it's plural. I kind of went off on a tear on this one TikTok, and I think the video is plenty long enough with that. And it's an important topic because this TikTok was problematic, but it's just an example of behavior of a lot of people with the same mindset. So I went into detail talking about that, and I'm not going to include any other TikTok clips in it. If people like this video and would like to see another similar one and are willing to send me clips that they found on TikTok that people have shared that are problematic, by all means send them to me at the link in my or at the email in my description. But I'm not going to add them to this video, so I hope you enjoyed watching this one. I know it's not like what the initial beginning suggests, but I still hope it's interesting. I had a lot of people ask me to make a comment about that video, and a lot of people requested it on my TikTok, so I'm finally doing it on YouTube because I couldn't make a video short enough with my criticisms to put on TikTok. So anyways, thank you for watching. Please check out my merch store and some of the products that I've added. I've added some more new ones since I even filmed the beginning of this video, and I'm really excited about them. I have some really exciting changes coming up that I'll be talking to you about, so definitely turn on post notifications so you don't miss out on anything on this channel. And once again, I appreciate your love and support. Thank you.